Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Notice is hereby given that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, the laws of 1975, notice of this meeting has been sent to all school offices, officially designated newspapers, filed with the Township Clerk, and posted in the Board of Education office 48 hours in advance of this meeting. Roll call, please.
Certainly. Mrs. Austin?
Here.
Mrs. Berkowitz?
Here.
Mrs. Sanande?
Here.
Mr. Rossini?
I'm here. Flag salute, which is around the corner, right? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With regard to my report, the only thing I'm going to mention is that I had the opportunity to be with the teachers on their opening day and to see the excitement in the room, the electricity, teachers laughing, taking photos with each other, which was really eye-opening, not necessarily for me, but in general, to see a group of people who seemed to genuinely like being with each other and who were happy to be back with each other, which suggests to me that we have a really good team of teachers and administrators, and I appreciated that. That to me was such a nice thing to see. So apart from that, I really don't have anything else other than welcome back, everybody. And we're a week in, so far so good, and that's about it. So I'm going to move on to committee reports. Mr. White is not here. Do we have anything?
I'll save it for mine, please.
Okay. Communications and policies. Mrs. Berkowitz, anything?
I have nothing for tonight. I just note our next meeting is October 14th.
Okay. Curriculum and technology. Mrs. Sanande, we had a meeting tonight, but do we have anything to add to that meeting?
We can talk about it under my report. We'll have a brief summary of today's meeting.
Terrific. Mrs. Pintarelli is not here. Anything for finance?
Not at this time.
And in negotiations, I have nothing to add. Personnel, do we have anything? Nope, nothing? Okay, terrific. So I'm going to, with regard to public comments on agenda items only, please take note that the Rivervale Board of Education is committed to encouraging the citizens of Rivervale and employees of the Rivervale School District to speak directly to board trustees. In order to facilitate this communication, residents and employees are requested, 1, to sign in before speaking, 2, to maintain an appropriate sense of decorum, and 3, to limit their remarks to no more than 5 minutes. The board will also take under advisement the written comments and opinions of non-residents that are submitted to the board secretary. Being mindful of its responsibility to maintain the orderly conduct of meetings, the board retains the right to rule on such matters as the speaker's right to address the board, as well as the appropriateness of the subject being presented. The board's decision in such matters is final. The board also reminds all members of the public that while it subscribes without reservation to the principle of keeping the community informed, by policy and law, it cannot allow public discussion of personnel matters, nor can trustees comment on any current or pending litigation. If a matter concerning an employee of the Rivervale Public Schools is of interest or concern to a resident, the matter should be referred to the responsible building principal or the superintendent of schools by telephone, letter, or email. I'm going to add that with regard to public comments, this is on agenda items only, but when we get to non-agenda items later in the agenda, these same rules apply. So the meeting is open to public comments on agenda items only at 7:07 p.m. Does anybody want to make a comment on an agenda item? Nope. Okay, I'm going to close it at 7:07 p.m. and move on to Mrs. Signore's report.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody. First, I do want to talk a little bit about opening day as well. I want to really thank our teachers. We have several of them here today. Thank you for coming. Our entire staff and our administrators, you guys really were the backbone to getting us off to a strong start this school year. You guys really put in a lot of preparation, collaborated together, and really your commitment to our students was evident from day one. I look forward to kind of building on that momentum and working together to make a productive and successful year. We just had a curriculum and technology meeting earlier where we got to reflect on some of the great work that our staff does and it just continues to make me incredibly proud to be the superintendent here, so thank you very much. Next is, as most of you know, especially our board, we have been modernizing our communication. It's been an ongoing goal of the board for the last couple of years. Last year, for example, we focused on revamping all the principal newsletters, and I also sent out a communication survey last October, so almost about a year ago. And one of the things that came out of that was Instagram accounts. So all 3 of our schools now have Instagram accounts. Please consider following them. It's really a great way to get a snapshot into the learning and just feel a little connected to our schools and just see some of the updates and the celebrations that we have going on. And last but certainly not least, during the October board meeting, which is our next meeting, we are going to be presenting, particularly Kim Dowling, our supervisor of curriculum, the district assessment report. A lot of districts can't stand doing this report. We love it. We always say it's kind of like the State of Union for us. So please consider joining us for that meeting. We're going to highlight our students' performance on the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, but we also demonstrate and talk about all the other forms of assessment we use. We talk about how we support teachers. We talk about the professional development we give, and we talk about the structures we build for really good learning to take place. So it's a really great presentation. And we just really like to brag too about really how we have been focusing on authentically differentiating the last couple of years with intention and with focus. So that will be at our next board meeting. Have a wonderful school year, everybody. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Mrs. Ippolito's report, Board Secretary's report.
Okay, welcome back, everybody, and to the board. I think with Mrs. Signori and I had talked, and we believe that it's most important that you hear from the individuals who have really put their heart and souls into this referendum project for the past 4 years. And it's not just the referendum, it's also their everyday and their summer work as well. So we've asked Mr. Tom O'Gara, our Director of Educational Technology, to touch upon the last 4 years and give you from his mouth what he's accomplished. And he and his team should be very proud. So, Mr. O'Gara.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for having me tonight. As Ms. Ippolito said, I'm going to just provide a quick overview of some of the highlights that we've had in the world of technology in the recent years, and just talk about some of the things that are also coming up. We have some exciting things on the horizon as well. It's always nice to kind of take a look back down the mountain as you're climbing, and I don't think we all do that enough sometimes. I think it's something that's healthy to do, kind of take a deep breath, look back down, see how far you've climbed. And that's kind of what this is about tonight. And none of the things that we're talking about tonight and that we've accomplished can be done without a supportive community, including the Board of Ed. I speak to a lot of colleagues in the state, and not everybody in the world of technology has all of the support that we have here in Rivervale. All the way down from the Board of Ed to the administrative team. We have a wonderful administrative team, our faculty and staff, and our community in general. Our students, everybody. This community is really supportive, especially when it comes to technology, and that makes my job a lot easier, makes our job a lot easier. So I just wanted to point that out real quickly. The Rivervale Educational Fund as well is a great partner to us, and I just want to really quickly mention them because a lot of our initiatives, while we greatly funded and we have a lot of resources, the RVEF is really responsible for funding, fully funding some of our initiatives and partially funding some things as well. So it would be, a mistake not to mention their part in our success as well, because without them we couldn't do some of the things that we do. So really quickly about our team here. I am Tom O'Gara, the Director of Educational Technology for the district. We have 2 full-time technicians and a part-time administrative assistant. We are responsible for all of the technology in the district. We have over 1,500 devices between our students and our staff. Every student in our district has access to a device, to a Chromebook. As you can imagine, that keeps us pretty busy. We have a lot of things going on. some of the things on my list here are kind of boring but important. They are kind of like the plumbing in your house. If they stop working, everybody starts talking about it, but nobody talks about the plumbing unless it's, when it's working, it's fine. But some of the things on my list here are the infrastructure, the things that allow all the great things in the classroom to happen, all the great things in the offices that are going on throughout the day. Without this infrastructure, we wouldn't be able to do those things. So I'm just talking about network switching and wireless networks and that sort of thing, all the boring things. I love this stuff. I'm sure everybody in this room does not love it like I do, but I love this stuff. It's extremely important, and we have upgraded almost all of that infrastructure in the last few years. So we are in a really good spot as far as that stuff is concerned, and it's allowed us to kind of focus on some of the other more exciting things. So it's hard to talk about the last few years without talking about construction. As we all know, there's been construction every summer. All of our buildings have been renovated, and we have a lot of great facilities now, a lot of things to be proud of. But the world of technology, just to kind of give you a little bit of insight how it was for us during construction, at the end of each school year, as we got ready to have a building renovated, of course, those contractors had to come in and they needed the building, they needed access to the building. So we had to go in and take every piece of technology basically out of the building, disconnect everything, get out of the way so they could do their work. And then right at the end of summer, of course they needed every moment that they had for the summer work. We were handed back the building and had to get all that technology back in and installed. So it was a short window of time going into the summer and a short window of time exiting the summer. I'm thankful for my team, because without them, we wouldn't have been able to pull that off. We were ready every single day for the first day of school with just about all of the technology that we needed. There's always some bumps in the road, but by and large, we were pretty successful in getting every building up and ready to go. And it was a challenge, but I think it was well worth it, as we all have seen in our buildings. If you've been through the buildings, it's been fantastic. All the work has been so nice, and our facilities are great, and it's really super important. Some of the things that we did during that construction was we updated our public address systems and our presentation systems in some of the buildings, and then we expanded on some of our security systems. So it was quite a bit of work, and I have to thank Mr. Tracy and his team as well, because we couldn't have done our job without them assisting us in getting all of that stuff outside of the buildings and then installed back in. They were instrumental in that as well. So that stuff was kind of boring and important, the infrastructure and that sort of thing. But one of the initiatives that we've had in the last few years are New Line interactive panels, like the one we're using here for this presentation. A few years back, we had to assess the technology in each of our classrooms. We were using projection systems, we were using some older technology, and they had to be refreshed. So the idea came up that, do we refresh that with the same stuff that we've been using for years, or do we go somewhere else and look at some new technologies that are out there? So what we decided to do was do a pilot program with multiple teachers across different grade levels and bring in different manufacturers of panels and give them the opportunity to use these panels with their students. And over a few months, we were building up information, and New Line Interactive came out the clear winner. Their price point was really good. All of my feedback that when I researched with other districts in this state, everybody said great things about New Line, and their professional development, their support, their price point, all of those things worked out. So we ended up, between that information and the information provided by the teachers, we ended up going with New Line Interactive. There's real-time collaboration, interactive presentations, a lot of time-saving features. There's a lot of great things, and we're actually just touching on it now. We still need to continue to do professional development and supporting these devices because there's so much that you can do. And I have to point out that the Ed Fund actually funded the entire project, so without them we couldn't have done that either. So very, very important. So a little bit more, not to be alarming, but I think we all know and we all kind of live in this world, and we all have stories, and we know about cybersecurity incidents and things that have happened in the world. Other school districts, schools in particular, are targeted, and it's something that we spend a lot of time on trying to prevent here in Rivervale, obviously. There is so much information out there, and I know we all are used to kind of going on our phones when you log into your bank account or something, you get that secondary code and you have to put that code in, and it's kind of annoying. But we have to institute some of those things here as well to make sure that we are safe and secure. We've joined groups, we've joined different organizations to try to help us with different resources and make sure that we stay as safe as possible, following best practices, and then also providing some professional development for our own users, try to make sure everybody understands what red flags to look for. You know, we see emails that are very questionable, and these bad actors who are trying to get our data are very good at what they do, very good at fooling us. So it's very, very important for us to make sure that everybody understands how to recognize red flags when it comes to cybersecurity. So this is just something I wanted to point out because a lot of time does go into this. It's not something that we think about because hopefully, knock on wood, we don't have any problems. But it is something that we all have to be aware how much time and energy goes into something like this. And I appreciate all of the time and energy that we get from our administrative team and from our staff and faculty to make sure that we try to stay as safe as possible, because in this world, it's really, really, it's the only thing that keeps me up at night. I can handle all the other technology stuff, but this stuff actually does scare me a little bit because it's out there. We've all seen banks and corporations be compromised. So this is something that is a high priority in our world of technology. So one of the other projects that we had recently is instituting a new ticketing system for technology, for supporting our community. We went with a product called Incident IQ. Incident IQ is a really great way to keep us organized behind the scenes. We have a mobile app that allows us to kind of see what's going on in the world of technology, anything that's happening in the district. The technicians and myself can see everything that's going on. And one of the important things about Incident IQ, we have, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of student devices. And of course, with those student devices comes damage. You know, we have to deal with damage. And in the past, we would spend a lot of time dealing with that, the repair work that comes with all of that, all of those devices. With Incident IQ, that ties directly into our repair facility. And what that means is that every time we analyze a situation or a problem and we have to get that device repaired, instead of going to multiple places, we will have to go to one place where all this is integrated with our other systems, and our technicians can go in quickly and enter a ticket, get that device shipped back out to our facility, and that allows them time to spend that time, more importantly, in the classrooms, out in the buildings, instead of doing the boring work of sitting in a room and trying to ship out a repair. And I know it sounds kind of like, well, that's not great, but it is great because the guys are out there in the classrooms more and out in the buildings more as a result of having an Incident IQ, excuse me, integrated into all the other systems that we're using. So lastly, this is something that's coming up. I know this is a board goal, and we've talked about this for well over a year now, and we are trying to improve communications with the entire community. And as part of that initiative, we are going to be unveiling a new website, and with that new website, a new mobile app. So with those tools, we'll be able to better communicate with all of our stakeholders and all of the community. Obviously, the mobile app is most people now communicate with their mobile devices, and then we're also going to be enhancing our social media presence. Ms. Signori mentioned before, adding Instagram accounts. And then with the new website, there's going to be a section, it's called a live feed, which is basically our own version of social media where we could share exciting things that are happening in the district. And that's coming very quickly in the next month or so. We don't have a date. When we do have the exact date, we will be putting that out in all of our communication channels to make sure everybody's aware of these changes and making sure everybody knows how to get all of our communications. Our emergency messages will be improved, and we have already been working on, but we're continuing to improve the school newsletters and e-blasts from principals. So that is coming in the next month or so. So that was just a brief overview of some of the things that we've done in the last couple of years. Again, the support that we have from the community, that's the most important part. We can be successful because we have that support from the admin team, the Board of Ed, and the community at large. So I want to thank you for that, and thank you for the time and allowing me to kind of give you guys a brief update. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer. Thank you.
I don't have any questions. I was going to wait for my comments after Tom gives his presentation too, but I just want to, I have to note that over the last few years, I've watched you, both of you, work so incredibly hard, and that wasn't unnoticed. And the enhancements, the improvements, and this is just a brief overview. And to take the time that you did throughout these years, both of you, and then take the time out tonight to provide really a brief overview, because this doesn't show, you know, a scintilla of really the work that went into it. So I just want to, you know, thank you for taking the time tonight and all the time that you've taken. Try not to lose so much sleep, because we'll do okay. And I don't want to take any more of your time, Tom, but, and it equally applies to you, because I've seen everything you've done. But I haven't seen your presentation, but again, five minutes. Yeah, but I'm going to say 5 minutes tonight won't even touch all the work that you've done. So,
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. O'Gara. And now we have our Director of Buildings and Grounds, also Tom. We've got the double T. Oh, look, we have TT already here in our community. Please, we want to share the facilities improvements and all that you've done. You should be incredibly proud of yourself and your team. It really has been a whirlwind these last 4 years, and I know you hit the ground on fire, and that's the truth. So thank you.
Okay, everyone, thank you. So the last 4 years for facilities has been very interesting. I started 4 years ago as a director of buildings and grounds, going into a referendum. Going into it, I was like, yeah, I can do this. And when I went to Rutgers, the first thing they told us, every professor, is when you apply for a job, ask them if they're going into a referendum or they're coming out of a referendum. If they're going out of a referendum, ask if the punch list has been done. Apply for the job. If they're going into it, move on to the next district. I didn't listen. I kind of went for it and said, why not? It's a good challenge. So, hold on here. So, my everyday custodians have a lot of different jobs. We do, obviously, they clean the buildings every day. We have the fire alarms we have to check every single year. We have smoke detectors above ceiling, below ceiling. We have CO detectors that have to be checked. And then the fire inspector comes in and goes through all that stuff. And then he finds stuff and that we have to find and we have to repair. And it just keeps, the list keeps going on. And we always say, they always play a game of gotcha. He's been in the buildings 4 years now. He's new to his position. And every year he comes, he goes past something and he finds something that was already there. I'm like, that was already there, but he writes it up. So it kind of never ends for doing the fires, the fire alarms, all the playground inspections, everything that we do on an annual basis. Nope, wrong way. All right, oh, sorry. So my first year, on the bottom left, that is Roberge School. We started that building, and on the left is the Holdrum addition. When we started the Roberge School, that's when I said to myself, what did I get myself into? The contractor that was on site was hiring people like day laborers. So everybody on the job was almost clueless. It took like me being here until 9 o'clock at night with my project manager going over things every day. I would literally leave here, call him on the way home, and sit on the phone with him going over everything that had to happen the next day. And somehow we were able to get Roberge open with no delays. And I will tell you, in the one picture on the bottom left, it's actually pretty neat and clean. I had a colleague of mine come over to actually walked the building, and he's been in my position for about 28 years when he came. He looked at me and said, I've seen buildings earmarked to be torn down in better condition than this building is. How do you expect to open this building in 8 weeks? And I just said, it will open. And he pretty much looked at me and says, good luck. He goes, I've been doing this for 20 plus years. I think you're crazy. But I said, it'll open. So in the addition at Holdrum, I kind of walked into that one as the project already was lifted off. And it went smoothly just because it was a new addition. You're not kind of trying to adapt things to old stuff. Oh, I keep going the wrong way. Tom, I should have had you do this, Tom. All right, my second year. Obviously, in the bottom left, we finished the wellness center. And then we continued on in the hallways. And then the rest of the building got its upgrades. Now, some of you may notice the picture on the bottom right. There's stairs going up. At one point, that was a doorway. So kids would come up the steps, kids would be coming down the steps. And it was a lot narrower than it is right there. And they had to try to funnel through. So the object was, we're going to make it a circle where all the kids can continuously go around the building through the new addition and get to their classes. And it made it a more safe environment to move kids around when they had to. And the top right is a bathroom, obviously, that we upgraded that came out beautiful. And that's one of the staff bathrooms. I believe that is in Holdrum. And then on my third year, Woodside, on the bottom left, as you can see, it's finished. The next picture over is installing a new waistline. Now, when we do construction, a lot of people sit there and say, we come in like, oh, it looks good. You painted, put new floors in, put new lighting in. They don't get to see what really went on really behind the scenes, behind the walls. And that came up when we were doing construction, that the waistline was not ready to take on what we were looking for it to do. It was an old, smaller line. We had to upgrade the line. So we had to cut down the wall, dig a trench through the classrooms, and put in new piping, which is one of the things we're like, okay, well, we didn't see that one coming, but we have to do what we have to do. And then we started the canopies at Roberge and Woodside. And then on to my fourth year. So the bottom left picture, when I put it on there, I asked myself, where is that? I couldn't figure out. I'm like, oh my God, where is that? It took me a minute to discover where that is in one of our buildings. Anyone know where that is? Everybody has been right where that bucket is numerous times. Exactly. I'm looking at it, and even when I look at it now, I'm like, the only way I could figure it out is a railing on the right-hand side. And that's when I'm like, oh my God, it doesn't look like anything I've traveled through. I don't know how many days, how many times a day I travel that walkway. And then over on the other side is the canopy at Holdrum. That is still moving along. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's sometimes a contractor realizes it's a little more involved than what he expected. And then we always find problems. They say 10% for the unforeseen. Sometimes it feels like it's 20%. But we figure it out and we move along. And then the top left is actually Melissa's new office. I don't know if anyone has been up there yet. Came out very nice. And the bottom right, that is out in Rivervale Road replacing the sanitary line. And I'm sure everybody has been next door and used the bathroom, and it had such a lovely, lovely smell. And the reason for that was because the wastewater was not making it all the way out to the city sewer line. It would get stuck halfway because there was like a 3-foot hump in the pipe. So nothing would really make it to its destination. We discovered that through the whole process, and the only way to fix it was go out in the street. I believe that is 14 feet deep, and replace the waistline. And then the other part of my job is an everyday operation to get the facilities going. Like I talked about before, the monthly service of fire extinguishers, CO detectors, playground maintenance, fire alarm sprinklers. I'm probably missing like more than 3/4 of everyday job, including ordering tissues, toilet paper, garbage bags, and everything in between. The amount of square footage the guys clean every single night. That's what they do every single night. And I would say they probably are the cleanest buildings in the region. I get to go see to some other buildings, and I'm kind of like, wow, this is kind of crazy. And most of the buildings, like, it was funny, Chris, when he started at Woodside, he looks down the hallway, and he called me. He's like, I think there's a leak. I'm like, what do you mean? There's water all over the floor. So I go up there. I'm like, oh, what am I getting into? I walk the building. I go see him. What? He's like, down the hall. Like, no, it's just the floors were just so shiny and so clean. And to get that done after construction, I would say my staff at one point at Woodside worked a 24-hour shift to get the building done so we can open. They worked right through the night to get what they had to do done and didn't complain, and they worked their regular shift the next day. And then obviously just some of the other cost savings that most of this is the maintenance department. So for example, up at Woodside, there's a catch basin in the back. I'm sure the Woodside staff knows it started collapsing. I got a quote to fix that. It was $4,000 for a guy to come fix that. It would take him a day. So I got the maintenance guys on it. They got the necessary stuff they needed to do, and he took care of it in-house. We built a conference room in the garage over at Holdrum, where my office is. So I hold head custodian meetings, all different events, even training we can do inside there. We built that room in-house. Winterizing, there's lawn sprinklers, and then the lawn care and snow removal. I'm sure a lot of people have landscapers and snow removal. You see what it costs just for your house. We do it all in-house, and we do the snow removal in-house, which is kind of what I call a sleepless night. Once again, when I took over this job, a friend of mine who's doing it for 20 plus years, he said, you will learn to move your bed next to the window. And I say, why? He goes, you're going to get awful tired every 10 minutes getting up, looking out the window, looking out the window. It's easy just to roll over and look out the window and say, nope, nothing accumulated. We don't have to go out. I don't have to call the guys out. We did a lot of drop ceilings over the years in the maintenance department. And every single year, I think twice a year, we do the refilling of bottles. We change bottle fillers. And then the biggest part of it is I could not do my job without the Board of Education, taxpayers, and the staff. Without everybody involved, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. And like I say, throughout the whole project, everyone says, what I've done, Tom does. It's like, how do you guys do it? How do you do it? Well, it's not just us. You can have the best coach and a horrible team. You can have the best team and a worst coach. You have to have a good coach and a good team to accomplish anything. And through the whole project, that's what I just kept saying is, I got a great team. I can do anything. And we have. I just want to thank everyone for the opportunity to do it. It's been fun. I like chaos. I love chaos. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I forgot. I mean, I didn't forget, but seeing just snippets of what you went through and what we all had to go through and the work and time that you put into it, it's really something. I think there was a point where I think you had to drive out to make sure that the doors were delivered and shepherd the guy back. I mean, these are the things that we went through, and you know, you took the time then, and thank you for taking the time tonight, because I know you're busy, and to let us know and to let the community know, like I said, this is only a small fraction of all the work that was done, but thank you.
And thank you both. That was my report.
Okay, all right. Well, that was terrific. I feel like, you know, the Seinfeld, you know, good night, everybody, because, you know, end on a high note. That was great. But we'll move on to general resolutions, G1 through G7. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second? Second, anybody?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion? Anything? A vote, please.
Certainly. Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Sanande?
Yes.
Mr. Rossini?
Yes. Um, Moving on to business resolutions B1 through B10. Motion, please.
I'll move it.
Second, please.
I'll second.
Just as a point of reference on B9, this is the board, now that we have no choice in the matter to charge tuition for anyone who's not in the district actually living here, and they want to attend school within a 12-week period. These tuition rates come right out of the state's budget. That's how they're calculated, out of our budget that we submit into the state.
Do we have people paying tuition?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but just to clarify, they're paying tuition because they have a contract to buy a house or a lease, and the sale of the house might be 12, it has to be within 12 weeks. So they start school with us, but they might not be closing for, let's say, 5 weeks. They have to pay tuition for those 5 weeks
Okay.
while they attend here and are not residents.
Okay. Anything else? Roll call, please.
Certainly. Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Sanande?
Yes.
Mr. Rossini?
Yes. And then P1 through P12, will somebody please move it?
I'll move it.
Second, please.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Anything? Nope. Roll call vote, please.
Certainly. Mrs. Austin?
Yes.
Mrs. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Mrs. Sanande?
Yes.
Mr. Rossini?
Yes. And then moving on to the public comments on general items. I mentioned earlier the rules for making public comments. I'm not going to repeat them. And I'm going to open the meeting to public comments on general items at approximately 7:40 p.m. Anybody want to make a general comment item? Anybody? No? Okay. And I'm closing it then at 7:40 p.m. Old business? New business? And I think we have to go into closed. Or new business?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to briefly open up a discussion with the board about something that I feel is important. But most importantly, a number of people in the public have come to me, especially with the recent horrific events that have unfolded, some involving students and staff in schools and children. It's terrible that we even have to discuss these things, but this is the reality that we're living in. A number of parents have asked why our district does not have Class 3 officers in our schools. A lot of the surrounding districts do. I know a lot of us feel that our district is safe. I had children go through this school system, and I felt that they were safe here. Many parents feel that their kids are safe here, that security is tight. So I'm not up here to argue that. I think we have a great relationship with our police department, and I love to see them here and present in our schools. But I am concerned about how the public feels, and if the public feels that we are doing every single thing that we possibly can to ensure the safety of our children and our staff. We've discussed this before. I know that our board has voted to have a second question put on the ballot in 2023. And I'm a little concerned about the numbers that came back. So I did a little research, and I do have the numbers here, and I just wanted to share that with everyone here in the public. So we had 2,959 ballots cast in that election. 2,208 people voted on that question. They answered the question, which leaves 751 people who did not answer the question. The reason I bring that up is because when I voted, I noticed that the placement of the question was odd. I do see how people could have missed that question. A lot of people came to me after the election and said, I didn't even know that was on there. So that's a big concern of mine. Did we do a good enough job advertising that the question was going to be on the ballot? Could we have done more? Should we do this again? I don't know if anybody has anything to add or any questions, but I just wanted to put this out there and see how the rest of the board feels. Another question I do have is, obviously this is a huge financial decision, and the last thing that anybody wants to do is take from other places for something that we hopefully never need, right? The new condos in town, I know that that brought us a lot of money tax-wise. Does that offset anything? Would we be able to use that money towards hiring someone? I guess these are questions directed for you, Ms. Ippolito.
Well, let me start out with the new condos. Not all of them are built, and it's not a direct influx of revenue, because remember, there are actually 4 different budgets competing. You have your township, you have your K-8 school, you have a portion that goes to your high school, and the county. All of those compete for those monies. And also remember that we, for the first time in over 10 years, we were above the 2% cap, because we have escalating costs between health benefits, between additional staff, between energy bills, between special education. So, and then obviously we want to continue the programs and the resources that you have. So it isn't as easy as saying that that particular revenue would come and automatically offset. It helps, it certainly helps, but it's not the answer. So I hope that helps with your question. Anybody else? I don't know if you want me to elaborate on anything else.
First, I want to thank you, Luann, for bringing this to us. Because if people are asking about it, or there's questions, then it's something that we should be thinking about. I was putting it out to the public when we did. I thought was appropriate at the time, but it doesn't mean that we can't revisit it or look into it. And by your bringing it up, it may be something that, once we sit down, or a committee, whatever committee would be appropriate to look into this again, we can, discuss it there and see what's going on. But it's, I appreciate you bringing, your concerns, absolutely. Anything else? No? Okay. Okay. There's being nothing else with regard to new business, I think we do have to go into closed session, right? Correct. So may I have a motion to go into closed session?
So moved.
And second, please?
I'll second.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. We're going to go into closed session. We're not going to come out. We're not going to take any further action. And thank you for spending the evening with us. And thank you, Tom and Tommy, for spending the evening with us, too.